What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 26th episode of Speaking of Stadia. I am, of course, one of your hosts, Aaron Cini, and to my what is probably right, maybe my left, is, of course, as always, the bearded beauty himself, my favorite John Krasinski on the internet, Too Tall Jacob Porter.
Jacob, missed you, Aaron.
How are you?
I'm good.
I missed me too. What I meant was I missed doing the show.
By that
I already have my first gift clip of Fee's facial expression, so we're starting strong. This next one, of course, needs absolutely no introductions. She puts the Nova in Scotia. She's my favorite Canadian. Don't tell my next guest. Her name is Fiona. How are you?
I'm doing great. Recovering still from E3, but I'm doing quite well. Thank you.
Amen to that. I had a great time gate crashing the Point in Progress 6-1 Indie E3 post show. Doggy. That was a good time. You had some rants to go on.
Just a little bit.
I need to find that.
Most people step off their soapbox. She would step off a soapbox onto a slightly taller soapbox. It took genuine skill.
I blame Crown.
Oh.
And Coke. Yeah.
Okay. It's really the Crown's fault, but you know what? Coke is guilty by association.
Of course.
I dig that. I can understand. And with us tonight is a very special guest. He puts the brighter in Burnout Brighter. He is, of course, one of the hosts of the Burnout Brighter podcast. His name is Matt. Matt, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. I'm so stoked to be here.
Yes, I am stoked to have you. Me and Matt met. He asked me to come and be on the Burnout Brighter podcast in January, I believe. It was one of the first shows I did of the year. And he was like, come tell me why Stadia matters. And I did. And he was like, all right, you've sold me. When I get back to Canada, I'm going to give it a shot. And he came back to Canada. He gave it a shot. And now he's here to share his thoughts. I'm really excited to not only hear about your thoughts, Matt, but really just, get to know what you think about Stadia, the news source. But tell us just briefly about yourself, about Burnout Brighter, and give us the rundown, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Matt from Burnout Brighter. We're a podcast all about video games and mental health and social justice. We also have a YouTube channel that talks all about those things. We do a bunch of game previews and reviews and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So if you're interested in any of that, you can find us at youtube.com/Burnout Brighter or the Burnout Brighter podcast at any of your favorite podcast networks, and you'll find us there. And as Aaron was saying, he came on talking to us about Stadia, and it didn't work in Korea at the time. So I said, once I get back to Canada, I'm going to do it. And I'm here to keep my promise.
I love it. I said this at the end of the show that I was on with Burnout Brighter. Please check out his podcast. It's actually literally one of the most professionally awesome done podcasts I've ever been a guest on. It's so fantastic. So great hosts. Please check them out. Destiny, very excited to wave at you and say, woo, Matt.
Hey, D.
And is that one of your co-hosts?
Yeah, that was actually the co-host that wasn't able to be on the episode that you were on. She was dealing with some stuff at the time. But yeah, that's one of ours.
So you were hiding from me. I see.
Destiny was hiding, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I understand how intimidating it can be to talk to somebody such as myself.
I'm saying, you have such a presence.
And there's facial expression number 2 for Fee. I'm going to get a Fee counter. And it'll pop up a little
you just add a banner on the bottom. It just has
That's what we like to do here. Of course, this is Speaking of Stadia, where we're going to break down all of the Stadia news for you guys. But let's start off with my favorite segment, the thing we do every single time for 26 straight episodes. What you playing? Matt, this does not have to be Stadia, although you are required to tell me what you tried on Stadia. Mm-hmm. So let's start with you, man. What have you been playing recently?
So let me get the non-Stadia stuff out of the way quick. I've been obsessed with Ratchet & Clank. Rift Apart has been so good. So good. It's just I can't better describe that game than it's just the most fun I've had in a video game in a while. It looks great, it plays great, but just the entire experience is just a blast. So I've been playing a bunch of that, and I think I'm getting closer to the end. Not usually one for platinum chasing, but I might actually do this one depending on how bad it is, because it's just so much fun. I'm having so much fun playing with it. But as for Stadia, I've tried a lot. I kind of gave myself a stress test over the last couple of weeks. playing out on my phone when I was out and about, trying to use the touchpad that some of the games have, playing on, the computers and stuff. And I did a whole bunch. Trails of Cold Steel 3. I love that game. I beat it back on Switch. So I was like, I'm going to try it again on Stadia. And I was pleasantly surprised. The only thing that I got a couple hiccups in is that there's like a high speed mode to kind of just make everything streamlined a little bit faster. That got a little stuttery when I was trying, but it kind of fixed itself pretty quick. And then it was all right after that. I played a bunch of Hitman. I jumped back into Resident Evil 7 for a little bit.
Nice.
Like Jacob was talking on last week's show, I played, or was it 2 weeks ago, the Blue Fire game as well. Similar issues. I kept getting stuck on everything. I was like, this is cool. I see what they're going for, but
I've heard a lot of people say that game gets a lot better when you get the double jump. I haven't gone back to it yet since then. I need to. I'm distracted by some other stuff, but yeah, I heard it gets better as it gets going, but it's just very like touchy here and there. So
it just doesn't really do a lot right away, and it kind of just leaves you to figure things out, which is fine. But like mechanically, it's there sometimes and not others, so it's kind of there. And then I also played a bit of SpongeBob, walked a bit of a walk down memory lane, played the crap out of that game when I was younger and decided to give it another whirl. So I've been trying a whole bunch of stuff, trying to, give Stadia its run.
I have a couple questions before we move on with what you're playing. Technically, how has it been working for you? Largely
very well.
Okay.
A couple stutters, a couple of frame dips here and there, which completely understandable.
Sure.
I was pleasantly surprised with how well it worked just on my phone's data. I had like a largely pretty good experience. I was expecting it to be worse. But I couldn't get around the touch controls. I do have like the Razer, what is it? Similar to like the Backbone.
The Kishi.
Yeah.
I love the Kishi.
It was actually just on sale for Prime Day. I know that too.
Nice. Yeah. So playing with that was great, but I also wanted to try the touch controls that I couldn't really jive with.
It's not for me either.
The touch controls work for certain games. I'll talk about that when it gets to me. But
yeah. And then
what was kind of your standout then? Would you say?
My standout was probably Hitman. I was really surprised with how well it ran. Because Resident Evil 7 got a little framey at points, like not super bad, but like Hitman, I used to play the crap out of those games growing up as well. And kind of going back to it. And I played that demo level, I can't even tell you how many times now, just being like, this time I'm going to get into it and failing every time. But I played a bunch of the first level over and over again because I'm very... If I screw up in that game, I automatically reload the latest save and try again. I can't just leave it.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, largely, I'm really pleasantly surprised with how it worked. Like I was really surprised at how smooth everything was, how easy it was to get everything set up. I tried with like the Stadia controller, with the Kishi, not the Stadia controller, the Nintendo Pro controller, with the Kishi, with the Xbox controllers, all around. Like it was great outside of those touch controls. But I mean, I don't blame them for that. That's just I can't play those games on my phone.
So did you sign up for Pro and pick up a couple of games?
I signed up for Pro. And I was eyeing a couple games, but nothing that's currently on sale really grabbed me. I was looking at Watch Dogs Legion, and I was kind of like, maybe that will be the one because it's on sale for like less than $30 Canadian right now. So I was like, maybe that will be one.
UB Plus is now available in Canada. So if you do want to dip into UB Plus and try a bunch of the UB games on Stadia, you can absolutely do that too. So
it's $15 American a month. What is
it?
I think
it's $19.99 Canadian a month.
But if you just sign up for 1 month, you could try the Watch Dogs Legions. You could try the new like Valhalla if you haven't played it yet.
Yeah,
like they have all their biggest titles.
Scott Pilgrim even. Really nice. And they're adding a bunch more. Like Rainbow Six is coming on the.
Siege is coming.
So
cool, man. So overall, you feel like it's been a pretty positive experience?
Yeah. I've had a great experience with it so far. Like so much so that I'm going to keep the pro subscription on through July. And like I don't know if I'll keep it like for in perpetuity, but like I want to give it a couple months to see what the pro lineup looks like, what the sales are like, and kind of just keep playing with it because I'm really happy with what I've done so far.
That's awesome. My last question for you before we move on was if you don't mind sharing, like what are kind of your internet speeds when you're saying you're having a good, this is something that people are always like, well, that's great if you're on fiber. And I'm like, well, no, not really. Like it will almost work on dial-up. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, we're not on fiber here. It's not available in my area. Like I think our speeds max out at like 100 megabytes down. Okay. But like I live in a house with like my entire family's in here with like 7 or 8 people in the house, everybody using Wi-Fi all the time. And like that's why sometimes I know the connection isn't, on Stadia's fault. It's because there's a lot of people connected at the same time. So like max about 100 megabytes down, but I would say probably more than often not, somewhere between 50 and 60.
Nice. Right on. Okay. Solid. Yeah. See, man. Well, I'm glad it's been good. Fee, let's go to you next. What have you been playing lately?
Well, since E3 was happening and they had Steamnexfest, which was a bunch of demos, I played 10 demos during the past week or so.
I was gonna hit you out to play a game one night. I saw you pop on streaming one of the games. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not gonna bother her to play Dead by Daylight with me.
No, oh my god. Well, I need to play Dead by Daylight. I also have a group. So Jake, if you want to play that sometime this week, let me know, because I have people who are like, wait, you said you were gonna play Dead by Daylight with me, and I'm like,
sure.
But demos were really fun, guys.
yeah. And they're all timed on the demos, though.
Yeah, some of them were. Some of them I found out they were still continuing on.
Okay.
Some of them that stood out, there was Chinatown Detective Agency, which is a point-and-click adventure. Really good. I would highly recommend it if you like point-and-clicks. Also, it kind of broke the fourth wall by saying, like, hey, we know you're going to use the internet to look up answers, so we're going to make them hard as hell for you to find the answers. Like, what was the name of this particular city in the 17th century in China? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like trying to Google it with like Frank, and we're trying to figure out what's happening. And we're like,
the answer is Beijing.
The answer wasn't Beijing. We didn't know.
Idea.
We had to it was like this particular stamp was used in this particular time period, and you have to find. I'm like, okay, so they know that you're going to Google it, so they make it really difficult. And I played Blooming Business Casino. I'm hoping that we see some of the demos that we saw during Steamnexfest come over to Stadia, because I feel like some of them would do really well on Stadia, including Lake, which was a really good one. It's very, very pretty. You get to play as a woman it's essentially a Hallmark movie in a video game. You go home for a week as your parent, for 2 weeks as your parents go on vacation, and you get to meet people meet people from your past, and you get to deliver mail and also build relationships. And by the end of the 2 weeks, do you want to go back to corporate America, or do you stay back in the hometown? And also, you can fall in love with two particular characters, and there's a sassy woman who works at the local grocery store, and you're like, okay, this is definitely. They took a Hallmark film. It's a gorgeous game. I'd highly recommend it.
Who'd you pick?
I didn't get since it was a demo, you didn't get to go too far. However, I went on dates with both of them.
A girl play in the field.
Get it?
Is that the mail carrier one?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. That game looked really cool.
It is freaking amazing. I'm very excited. And there's a number of other ones that I'm going to be talking about at some point. But, guys, I played a Stadia game. I know.
Did we talk about this yet, Fee? Because
I wasn't even going to pull this comment up because I was like, is YouTube going to flag us just for having this in text? Our comments are now being watched. So explain yourself, Fiona.
Okay, so there was a demo that I did not play. I just want to put that out there. I want to I just want to say I did not play it. I actually uninstalled it after I opened it because I'm like, I can't do this.
After you opened it, you just got to the menu and you're like, I am out.
Yeah, because you got to choose if you do you want euthanasia turned on in the game, or do you want it to you turn away the dog? And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm out. Peace out.
These are two difficult questions.
Yeah, and I'm like, I can't do this on stream. I actually at one point was working at an animal rescue, and I've seen some stuff. So I'm like, I do not need to relive this on stream as content worthy as me hysterically sobbing would be. I can't do this.
I'm gonna just give all my nopes. I have 3 dogs. Just nope.
And
we can end the conversation there. Just wanted to...
I saw the comment though, and I appreciate you bringing it up because I was curious. What Stadia game did you play, Fee, so I can get out of this nightmare?
I played Epistory Typing Chronicles, which was a game that went on sale 2 weeks ago. Okay. The game came out in 2016. You are playing as a character who is going through this particular land that's all made out of origami. Like the trees, the characters, she's made out of origami. And when you go into a new area, like papers rise up as if it's a book. It creates a book, and then the entire world is built on these particular squares that are books.
Wow.
And it's obviously, since it's called a typing chronicles, you have to type words to interact with your surroundings. Like to be able to remove a bush, you have to write a specific word that comes up. You click, like, you have to use a keyboard and mouse for this one, guys. Mm-hmm. You click space. It says like rhododendron, so you have to like type rhododendron in, or you have to type in the word bush, and the bush disappears. Or if you're using specifically fire attacks, it's like volcanic and a flame and a bunch of other words.
Wow,
it is very interesting. One, I found out I'm a very fast typer. Two, I don't know big words, guys.
You're not very loquacious?
No.
Ooh,
there was
word.
Like, I forgot how to, like, it was just like, okay, there's like flea and flu, and then this big guy comes out and it's just like collaboration, and I'm like, okay, sir. And then and it's not just like once. You have to, like, if you get hit, you die. Like there's like, you don't get just like, you lose like health, you you die, and then it takes you back to your last spawn. But it was absolutely bonkers, and I'm like, thank goodness that certain things help you with some of these bigger words. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I did have a few hiccups. I also probably just need to download something on my PC to help with it, because it just, like, the frame rates were going down a little bit for a little while, and then it came back up normally. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jake, what have you been playing? And I swear to God, if you start with a board game, I'm just walking away.
I did play a board game. But no, but I'm not gonna talk about the board games. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Board games. I just wanted to give you a hard time.
Nah, it's all good. So I had a fun weekend this past weekend, the weekend prior. My wife on Friday had to go to the ER, so that was fun. She had her appendix removed. She's all good. She still can't lift anything, which is frustrating for us with our daughter. But I had the time because I was there till I left at 5 a.m. from the hospital because they kicked me out because I couldn't go into the actual hospital from the ER. But I decided, hey, while I'm here, I'm going to play some Stadia because we're just chilling, looking at our phones because we're just trying to pass time at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't have my controller with me either. So I'm like, I'm going to play a game that I can play with the touch controls. And like, what games can I play right now that have touch controls? And like, I played like Into the Breach, which was, I'm not sure if that's the one that was available when you got it, but that was actually a game that you can easily play with touch controls because it's a tactical turn-based RPG. Like it's a tactical, really like, real-time strategy. But I'm like, you know what? Super Bomberman R Online isn't that difficult of a game. That's online. Let's test something like an online game. Let's see how it goes. So I played that with touch controls in the ER, and not on the Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi was very bad at the hospital, like 5 down and up. But so I played via cellular connection, which was like I think 50 or 60. And the first like game I went when it was really framey and really laggy. But then once I loaded it into another game, like it was fine. It was completely seamless. It was great. Good experience. The touch controls worked well enough. A few misses here and there, but like and I have big hands, but like it was fine. It was playable, which was really cool to have that experience with like Super Bomberman. And then I even got as high as like 7th place or 8th. I got top 8 one of the games. So
I really thought you were going to tell me you were trash. You're like, I tried it on touch controls and I was so bad.
One game. I actually did pretty well after a little bit. It took me a little bit to get used to the touch controls and whatnot, but
I had it in the holster ready to be like, you'd still beat me because know I'm terrible.
I would.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, I see.
But then I also did buy. I'm going to say it the correct way, Kaze, but I spelled K's. It's a. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that game at all. It's very harkens back to Donkey Kong Country. I'm only like into the second world of. I'm going to say 6 worlds. But that game is really fun. It's a really like fun classic platforming style platformer. I think it was on sale for $22. I had some Google Play credit, so it was like throw some money at it. But yeah, it's not on sale anymore, unfortunately, for those that would want it. But no, it's Puzzling surprise of the game. Gonna keep going through it. It's definitely tough. Like Donkey Kong has a lot of the same things. Like you collect the KAZE and it has like the barrel things where you're they get the timing down for the barrels moving. So a lot of that stuff. So it's fun. I like that game a lot. And then I played some Dead by Daylight with some friends via Stadia on Monday. So they were playing on console. Like one was on PC, one was on console, and I'm playing on Stadia with mouse and keyboard. So it's fun.
Nice. That's awesome. Much like Matt, a lot of Ratchet and Clank in this household.
Especially with your son, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, we've been loving it. It's my first jump into the Ratchet series, honestly.
Oh, you didn't play the 2014 version? Was
2016?
it 2016?
I have it because it was free on Pro. We just never actually got to it. So I might
go back and play it.
Yeah,
that game was fun.
But Rift Apart, oh my god! Not only is it really fun, really good humor, great story, incredible graphics, but the technical prowess of that game is insane. It's also just like a perfect love letter to Insomniac. They're taking all the best things about Sunset Overdrive, I would assume previous Ratchet games, and Spider-Man, and just like combining all of it. It's glorious.
Anything about Resistance? Anything?
There's aliens in it.
There you go.
And you can shoot stuff. Yeah.
Well, they both had they took their crazy gun stuff from Ratchet and Clank and definitely put it into Resistance, more like realistic shooter, and I like the auger and some other cool guns. So
yeah. That, and then we've been full tilt on the new season of Fortnite. For the first time ever, I reached level 100 in like 2 weeks. I just blew it up. I don't know. We just kept playing, and we're still playing. I'm rolling through all the bonus pages now. It's a good time. Fee, you might judge me for Fortnite, but I want to talk to you about a little MMORPG called Final Fantasy.
Where's the leave button?
I've actually never played it. I just really like to give Fee crap that everybody really wants her to play it.
Do you not like it?
I've never even played it. But Fee, she has an aversion to it.
But did you hear that there's a free trial that you can play up to
level 60?
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
It includes the Heaven Sword thing.
Yeah.
My buddy was
sword.
Oh my god.
I played League of Legends with my buddy last night, and before that he was raiding in Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
He raids twice a week.
Let's talk real quick. Let's just say the four of us decide, you know what? As a group, we just need to play a game together.
Okay.
None of us have played Final Fantasy 14 unless Matt has.
Matt
has. So we have a Sherpa. How do you feel about jumping in with one Sherpa and 3 noobs and just giving it a shot?
I'd be down. I'm not sure my computer can handle it, but
here's the thing.
I think it's PlayStation 4, right?
If I say yes, I know someone is going to freak out and be like, I asked you multiple times to play this game with me, and I'm going to be like, yep. But you made a big deal out of it, and then that's where I drew the line.
And now you have 3 people to play with. So you guys heard it here first. I already wrote down the timestamp. I'm clipping it out. She's gonna play. She's gonna play Final Fantasy 14 with us. We're gonna do it.
I'm so excited.
And Matt is our Sherpa. It's gonna be good times.
It's perfect. I play a healer. We'll be good.
Is it crossplay, like across PC and everything? Or
yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Man, no, here's the thing. I tried everything. I'm like, it's not crossplay. It's crossplay. And I'm like, but it's going to be it's going to be a short demo. You get into level 60. And I'm like, I really don't. I played World of Warcraft for 5 years. I don't think you understand the severity of my addiction to MMORPGs. And they're like, it'll be fine. You can just leave whenever you want to, and you can join back in. And I'm like, I literally cannot come up with a reason that people will be like, I understand why you don't want to join this game. So
because I like my free time.
It's not on Stadia. Would that work?
Yeah.
No,
damn it.
not, because they'd be like, you bought a $2,300 PC for nothing, to be able to play something.
To be able to play a bunch of demos of indie games.
Oh my
exactly.
goodness.
I just want to touch base on some of the comments we had going. Someone said Legend of Keepers would be great on touch controls. Of course, more Ratchet and Clank love from Christian. And then, hey Charles. So,
hey Charles.
Hey Charles.
Hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We love it. All right, that's what we've been playing.
Only 25 minutes in.
Yeah, let's jump into.
Suppose you have a fourth on the.
This is pretty average for us. Let's be honest. We always geek out over that.
I mean, we just convinced Fee to play Final Fantasy XIV, so I mean,
yeah, it's
Winning.
pretty important. Pretty important.
Winning.
Oh my god.
Fee, I'm excited. Everybody keeps telling me to play it. Now you got 3 noobs and a Sherpa. That's all we need.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into the news. Starting with what is out now / what can we be pre-ordering here soon on Stadia. This comes over from the
week on Stadia
community boards. This week on Stadia, we have Hello Engineer, the Olympic Games 2020, Madden 22 finally coming day and date this year after last year's absolute travesty. The Crata Battle Pass and Borderlands 3 is, I'm guessing that means launching crossplay.
No, it's
free to play.
Free.
If I would just scroll, if I would read, if I'd use my brain.
That's free to play weekend, but it is crossplay now. So if you
it is crossplay now.
Yeah.
But Borderlands
everything
3,
except for PlayStation.
really?
Yeah,
PlayStation.
Sony being Sony, man.
Well, hey, to be fair, Gearbox did throw the publisher under the bus, not PlayStation.
That's fair, and I'm not here to knock it. I'm rocking a PlayStation t-shirt right now. I wish they would figure out their crossplay issues. So yeah, we have the Olympics 2020. This is huge. This is very important. Everything about the Olympics is so crucial because you can be mascot Sonic.
Yes,
I'm in.
That's all I need.
Matters. Furry Sonic. Yeah. There you go.
They could have gone with cartoony Sonic. They went with weird
furry
humanoid mascot Sonic. And then the free-to-play weekend for Borderlands 3, it'll be free all weekend with anybody with Stadia Pro starting at 9 a.m. Pacific on Thursday, June 24th. As of this recording, that would mean tomorrow morning. If those of you listening later, if you listen to this, after July 1st, well, stop. Listen to our show sooner. Get all the mayhem you can handle for free with your Pro membership until 9 a.m. Pacific on June 28th. And then through July 1st, you can pick up Borderlands 3 in the Stadia store for only $19.79. Now that's USD. Mr. Porter,
what?
You missed buying this game when it was $11.
It was $9.99.
$11.
Yep.
Are you going to purchase it for $19.79?
No, I'll probably jump in and play it for free again for a little bit, like I did every single time it's been free. It's like the third time it's been free, but yeah, I'm still kicking it. They had the Ultimate Edition for $11. That was like the Ultimate Edition is like $30. I'm so mad at myself. It was that in PGA 20. I forgot to mention that. I actually played. I guess I'll get to it instead on the next. This week on Stadia, I actually played a round of PGA Tour 2021. 2021. So 2K21, whatever it is. Yeah. So I played a little bit of that too, but. That was free. That was like they're both like $10. I'm like, oh, I'll buy them like tomorrow because they're on sale till tomorrow, and the sale ended tomorrow at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah. So
Matt, are you a Borderlands guy at all?
I like playing Borderlands with other people. I'm not very much a single player Borderlands person. I played a bunch of 2 co-op, but I mean, jumping in for free might be enough to kind of pull me in and checking it out.
Nice.
Yeah, it's actually it make it super easy because you just go to the store, hit play, and then you just start playing.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Fee, Hello Neighbor, that series do anything for you?
This past weekend, what is time anymore, guys? When they showed Hello Neighbor 2, so being able to see Hello Engineer coming out kind of makes me really excited because the mechanics that are coming out in Hello Neighbor 2 are absolutely terrifying because the AI remembers what you did the first time you went into the house. So, Hello Engineer, I hope it's a little less creepy. But it
has some co-op too, which is nice.
Yeah, that is cool.
That AI is terrifying.
Yeah. it was just like, oh, if you went through the kitchen door, it'll remember that you went through the kitchen door, and so this time you might have to go through the side door and then hide in the cabinet. But if you die, you have to it'll remember that you did it the last time, so you have to switch it up every time you enter the house.
It's wild because it builds off of the entire community playing too. So it'll actually learn critical paths based on everyone playing just to try and mess you up more and more. It's ridiculous. I don't understand how they're pulling it off, but no.
And how that first game ran, which was not great, at least my first time playing on Stadia.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they can knock it all out. So
nice. Matt, hello engineers. Are you excited to jump into this?
I have never checked out any of these games.
Optimistic?
Yeah, hopefully. I've never checked out any of these games. Like I said, the AI in 2 scares me enough, but it's also one of those things that's I would like to try it just to see how optimized it gets in a couple months, because then is that guy going to just be standing in the doorway as soon as you try and walk in, no matter where you are? Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see more about it.
Big no. Yeah. And then Mr. Porter, Crata for you, the battle pass. Does this make you want to jump back in on all? We both jumped in day one. You've probably kept up more on it than I have.
Yeah, I have.
Does this excite you?
I'm glad that Stadia is still, even though the exclusivity is gone, I'm glad to see that they're still working together. And in terms of promotions and whatnot. One thing I did notice a lot with Stadia recently, example, the PGA 2K21 free weekend. On PGA 2K21's Twitter account, they posted, "Oh, it's free this weekend," but they decided to neglect Stadia on that. So seeing that, I know it's that we'll get to that more when we get to E3. But yeah, it's good to see them promoting it more and still being on board together. It's not going to make me go into it, but I'm glad that they're. I mean, for a game, I think they went from a paid model to almost free to play now, a base free to play model. Seeing them keep generating money for it and getting people on board for a low price. It's a fun game. I have a lot of cool things people made in that thing. So to see people play that toolbox and trying more things is cool. So
nice.
I'll probably go back and try Crata here and there all the time.
Right on. Nick, thanks for joining us. Did somebody say video games? That's all we're talking about. I will show your next comment, which everybody watching live can see right now, but that's a story later. So I'll bring that up here. And then you were already talking about PGA. Let's talk a little bit about what was last week with Stadia Pro.
Not much.
This story is late. If you're listening now, you've missed the boat. They did do PGA 2K21 for free with Stadia Pro. And Jake, you said you tried this, right?
Yes, I did. I just did one round of it, and I did not win. I was very bad at putting. Very, very bad at putting. Even with
is that why you got into disc golf on the short game?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, way easier. Although I actually now have my own basket, so I can practice my short game now, because my short game is bad, and that too. So
nice.
But no, I always like sports games in general. I've especially the Tiger Woods games. I grew up playing a lot of that, so it felt good. It felt fine. It has some cool tools. It took a little bit of getting used to, but once I got used to it, it felt great. So if you like sports games, definitely go try it. I'm not sure if it's on sale right now. There's a ton of things on sale right now, so check that out if it's available.
And even though PGA is no longer available to play for free, you guys can obviously pick it up on the store. I thought the biggest thing from this was Life is Strange and Life is Strange Before the Storm Remastered have been confirmed coming to Stadia on September 30th, day and date with the rest of consoles. Mm-hmm. Matt, let's start with you. It was Life is Strange. Is this something you've already played? Is this something that excites you?
It's something that I've had my eye on for the longest time. I own it. I own the first one on PlayStation, and I started it and played 20 minutes, and then for whatever reason just never picked it back up. And it's not a fault of the game. I think something else grabbed me at the time. So I'm actually really, really curious to check out the remastered collection, because having it all in one place. And correct me if I'm wrong, did they also announce that it was going to be free on Stadia Pro?
Yeah. Go back to the article. You still have it up?
The remastered one, the first one. Well,
yes.
The remastered collection.
No, it is. I thought it was in the article, so that's why I didn't.
I already closed it, but let me check. I got it back up.
While we're pulling that up, Nick said he bought PGA on sale a while back, and a lot of fun. Nice. He doesn't even like most sports games. So.
Nice. Yeah, so if it is free, that's a pretty good incentive to keep the Pro subscription rolling until then.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's a good opportunity for me to jump in, and I like the idea of having those games kind of wherever I go. I feel like that's something that would actually work quite well just on my phone as I'm traveling somewhere, or wherever else. So I'm excited to check it out.
Nice. It does say right here, actually, Stadia Pro members will be able to claim both titles for free starting September 30th.
Woo! Awesome. So
I'm exactly with you, Matt. Like, this was a game that I jumped into the first episode. I was really intrigued by it. I really liked it. And then something just kind of grabbed my attention. I just kind of kept moving on. Mm-hmm. It was when it was free on PlayStation Plus, and I don't even know if the sequel is out yet. It was just the first game at the time.
Yeah.
I can't wait to jump in and check out this series. The first episode is great. It's got a really cool story. I really like the kind of choice system that they built in. So this was huge for me. And I am all about games like this where I can play anywhere. Like, I like the idea of knocking out an episode on my phone or playing on my laptop. Yeah. So this is really excited. Yeah. Fee, Life is Strange seems like your jam from the art style alone.
So here's the deal. Life is Strange is definitely a game that should be my type of game for sure. And I was really excited.
There's a but coming.
But I don't know if you noticed the dates when they release. The remastered version comes out on the 30th, and True Colors comes out on the 10th. Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why? Because it makes no sense. And because this is not on Stadia.
Square Enix is a great company. They really know how the calendars work very well. So,
like, okay, here's the thing.
They had the numbers switched around.
It would make sense if True Colors came out on the 30th and then the remaster came out on the 10th to allow people such as myself to enjoy the remaster. And so I could be prepared for True Colors. But instead, I need to play the original version and then play True Colors and then not get to experience the remaster afterwards. Like, maybe they're trying to hope that people go back and play the remaster, maybe trying to see like what other story, because there are different endings. It is one of those types of games, so it might get people inspired to go back and try it. But for me, it doesn't particularly make any sense for me to play the original, then go into the, like, it might be beneficial for people who haven't played it since 2017, but for me, shrug. Like, it doesn't make, like, this is no gripe at all to Stadia because this is happening on every other console. Square Enix, it just makes no sense. Like, this makes no sense. Like, I got really excited. I was just like, oh, I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna stream it. I'm gonna get people pumped for it. And then it's like, oh.
It's really weird because you'd think that the True Colors would probably be more streamlined, probably much more quality of life stuff, and then you're going to be able to pick up True Colors maybe after the remastered on sale, I guess. Then they don't want your money at day and date. Yeah. It's a really weird thing, but I mean, Square Enix is going to do what they're going to do.
Marketing is hard.
Yeah.
It's not. That's literally my job. And if this idiot can do it, like, honestly. And then Matt, that's a great point. I didn't even think about the quality of life. Yeah. Like, nobody wants to jump into True Colors and then like really enjoy that experience and be like, God, I want to see what the rest of this universe is like. And then be like, oh, old game is old. Like, this feels rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like, I'm sure that the remastered collection, I'm sure they're going to do a lot to it. And I'm sure it's going to be great. But I don't know. For me especially, Fia, I didn't think about that enough, but I completely agree because I had just played the new shiny one, and now you're giving me the older shiny one. I don't know.
Older polished one.
Yeah.
I like older shiny one. Jake, what about you? Life is Strange do anything for you?
As someone who wasn't super into the genre, but then played Oxenfree and then really loved Oxenfree and really excited for Oxenfree 2. I'm having it for free. Definitely will incentivize me to go into it. And again, if I enjoy it, I'll go back and get True Colors when it's on sale.
Yeah. Because when it's on sale.
Yeah. Because it'll be over a month afterwards. So. Yeah. No, I mean, it definitely sounds interesting. I've heard great things about the story from anyone that's touched that game. So definitely going to be checking that out.
Nice. Love it. But those games are already out. Let's talk about new games that have recently announced for Stadia. The first being one that I am actually incredibly excited for.
More dinosaurs.
Instinction is officially coming to Stadia, but perhaps not day and date. This comes from our great friends over at Stadia Source, your number one news for all things Stadia news source. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's official. Instinction will be making its way on Google Stadia developer Hashbane has confirmed the news. The article goes on to say, now as it stands, the game will be coming to Stadia. However, it will not be doing so as a day and date release with other platforms. Reason simply being cost and timing. At this moment in time, Hashbane would need to use the funds from sales on other platforms to then initialize the full Stadia port of the game. Hashbane are 100% self-funded studio. They have had the conversation with some larger publishers, but no final decision has been made by the studio in regards to this. The article goes on to say that they talked to Jade Saunders, one of the co-founders of Hashbane. One of the prerequisites we have with all of them is that we want to port to Stadia at the very least. This is a must-have for us, and they both have expressed the importance of doing so. I liked this final quote from Jade. I strongly believe the Stadia community could help in this regard in terms of bringing it to Stadia sooner. If the community and base express enough volumes, a game they want to see on their console, there's a high likelihood that they would want to back it too. Extinction, if you don't know, looks like a first-person dinosaur hunter. It's like a first-person,
more like Turok.
Yep. Yeah. What do we take from this? Originally, when this story broke, I swore it was day and date that they had announced, so I was surprised.
Yeah,
I mean, I like the transparency, at least. If they say, "Hey, this is why we can't," and like we really would need the funds to justify because we are a small team. You can relate to it at least, as opposed to like big companies like, "Oh no, it's just like getting EA, getting to Stadia is just too hard." Like, let's just give you Madden after the Super Bowl. It's fine, no problem.
It's just fine. Matt, have you looked much into Instinction?
I haven't, but now after hearing it's basically Monster Hunter with guns and dinosaurs, I mean, it sounds pretty cool.
Monster Hunter with guns and dinosaurs, but looks gorgeous. Like, it looks so good.
No, it's not. Monster Hunter has some style to it, but no, it's not the most beautiful thing in the world. But no, this looks cool. I was checking out the little teaser trailer here, and it looks really nice. I'm very curious to see more of it because why not?
That was into Knock Monster Hunter, by the way. They just went for like that more like hyper realistic art style, and it looks really wild and crazy. So Fee, what do you make of this not coming day and date? Unsurprised at this point?
I'm not surprised. I appreciate the communication from the team, though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because, and this is something that we ask on as like gamers ourselves, is just we need communication and just saying like, hey, you know what? We recognize that we need to do X, Y, and Z to be able to get this on Stadia. I'm understanding if you're just going to randomly say, because I think they did announce a while ago that they were going to bring like.
I know they're bringing the game to Stadia. I'm not sure they ever gave anything else.
No,
but maybe I'm wrong too. So
honestly, it makes more sense for this to come to Stadia than the Switch because they said the Switch is considered. I'm like, in what freaking world is this coming to the Switch? Because the graphics look phenomenal.
Maybe they never the Switch Pro.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but like it just looked. I remember seeing the trailer at E3, and I'm like, this looks fantastic. And I'm very excited to see this actually come into fruition and be able to play it. Just because it's like a darker. It looks like if Jurassic Park went like rogue and just dark, because like it just looks kind of like creepy, eerie. There's blood because we don't see that in Jurassic Park very often. And it just looks interesting. I'm interested to see how it plays. But yeah, I'm excited.
I'll pose this to the group, and Jake, we'll start with you. What are the chances that Stadia, if we got loud enough, would come in and put a little money behind this, even though they're private?
I think so.
Yeah,
I do. I know they seem like they've been doing it.
I think they would, especially after kind of the news coming into the first half of the year. Like, I think them seeing like, okay, look, we're putting more money behind more games. This would probably look good too.
Love it.
Yeah,
I mean, sorry, go Yuffie.
Oh, I was just going to agree with Matt. Like, I agree 100%.
Back to you, Jake.
I was going to add, is that seeing how like the one Kickstarter Skybound, if I remember correctly, that Kickstarter game that was Stadia like backed. Oh, sorry, Sky Climbers. Thank you, Andy. Thank you. It was blank thought. Yeah, Skybound is a board game company that I was thinking of. So, Sky Climbers, like they had getting a ton of support from Stadia. Like they've been posting even recently about Stadia's support for the game. So if enough, and that was a game that was very much the fan base got behind and backed and made helped them raise way above what they thought they were going to get. So, I definitely think it's in the realm of possibility if enough voices get behind it.
Yeah, I just want to add as well. It looks like even the consoles are getting this after release. Like it's going to be coming out on PC first, and then it's going to be on console. So honestly, them even taking into consideration Google Stadia, like this just gets me excited because it's going to be on PC. I'm going to be honest, as a side note, I hope there's ray tracing because I'm going to use the frig out of my 3070 if that's the case.
Nice.
But if I put money in the game, that means that they might bring it to Stadia. So time
is
for me to buy it on
3070
PC.
just like a form that you have to file on TurboTax? What is that?
It's the graphics card that I have. It is very rare.
Is that
the fact I've never heard that before yet until now is very incredible. That's so good.
You're welcome. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, if it has ray tracing, I will definitely play it on my Xbox. Listen, my PC can't even run a ring light tonight. I don't know how I would expect it to run anything else going on. So
you missed that with the pre-show was Aaron's light just decided to kill his mic and everything else.
Yeah, if I turn my ring light on right now, I will lose all audio. It's rough. All right. The other two games we have coming, and we won't spend a lot of time on these. Get Packed, Fully Loaded is coming out with Stadia as they lose their exclusivity for Stadia. So this will have a lot of new content, some new DLC, things like that. That will be coming to Stadia
July 29th
for $19.99 USD.
Nice. Fun game.
If that's something that you're interested in. And, some type amount of Monopoly money for you Canadians. And then last but not least, Moonlighter, the RPG game that's part roguelite, part management simulator, has been confirmed coming to Stadia. We do not have a date for that yet, but it's coming.
Yep.
So, Jake, I know you're a big Get Packed fan. Any thoughts on the new DLC?
I mean, they'd added some stuff to the game since launch because I played it at launch and I played it again a few months ago with my wife. And they definitely added some stuff. So I'm assuming the fully loaded version will be an upgrade to. I'm not sure if it says in the article or not. If it'll be an upgrade for the existing users or it'll be a DLC, I don't know. But I thought it was a fun game. If you like that like Overcooked style of party game, and you don't want to play that, or I think. What was the other one that came out around the same time on Switch? Moving Out, I think.
Moving Out?
Yeah. So I've heard that, I mean, it's in the same vein. So if you like that style of game, go for it. I think it was lots of fun. I had to take a skeleton of a dinosaur from a museum and try to stick it into a van while knocking, while also dragging in a security guard. So it's fun.
Matt, have you played Overcooked or Get Packed or anything like that?
I played a bunch of Overcooked 1, 2, and Moving Out. Okay. I had never heard of this game up until, I was looking through the show notes and watched the trailer. Yeah, that would make sense. And Jake, actually it does say that the Stadia edition will be upgraded at no cost or anything.
That's
so
what I was very quickly putting it in the dock today.
Yeah. I'm curious to check it out because I love these kind of style of party games. My partner isn't a massive gamer, but she loves to kind of jump into these games with me. So I'm excited to kind of give this a whirl and check it out because it looks like, the Overcooked Moving Out style, but just way more ridiculous and way more out there. So, I mean, just hearing you can move dinosaur bones like that just sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm definitely going to check this one out.
Love it. Fee, did you ever try this one?
I did. I think there was.
It was for a pro for like a short time, like 2 or 3 months. So when it first came out.
Yeah, I played. I think I played a few hours of it. I tend to have this ability to make people frustrated while playing these games because I'm really bad at them. I don't know. It's just a knack that I have. What's up, Aaron?
I'm saying me too. I'm terrible at these games.
Oh my god!
I get yelled at for burning the fish in Overcooked all the time.
Because here's the thing: I have this issue where I just don't read instructions. Like it'll be on my screen, and I notice this as well when I'm streaming because it'll just be like, "Fee, like why aren't you, like they told you how to do this like 30 minutes ago?" And I'm like, "Do you think I read something? Like I don't know what's happening. I just press buttons and hope for the best." So yeah, this is. I'm definitely interested to see what they put in the game with Fully Loaded, and excited to see where they're going to be taking this, because it was very interesting to see two types of games coming out around the same time that have essentially the exact same theme, but look a little bit different. Yeah. But it's definitely a nice complementary game to oh my goodness, Overcooked, because I really enjoyed Overcooked. Mind you, once again, another game that I'm not very good at, but it's very cute because there's like a freaking dog. The dog's adorable, but there's no dog in this one. There are cats every so often, if I remember correctly. They have like...
I think so.
Because I remember throwing a cat into the back of a container because I was like, we need to take you with us. And I'm like...
So we had euthanasia at the beginning of the show, and now we're talking about throwing cats into containers.
I was like, do we want cute dogs in these games around Fee? I am unsure. I go back to this comment. There was a gleam in her eyes, apparently, when the Dog Simulator 1 came up. So I don't know if I'm comfortable with the fact that you're excited about dogs being in games anymore.
Well, she seems disappointed that it's only cats she's putting in buckets this time. So. Sorry,
Matt.
Sorry. Oh, that's so good.
No, it's okay.
Tell us why you're disappointed there, Fee.
Oh my god. Either way, love these games. Really excited to play them with other people. I don't know if I'm gonna play it anymore.
Still stream it. It's fine.
It's fine. I just won't stream it or play it. But I am very happy for the people who enjoy it and are good at it.
Oh my god, that's incredible. All right, so that's what's out now. We have another news story here. It's time to upgrade. We had some really good Chromecast Stadia controller news today. Matt, talk to me. Do you have a Stadia controller?
I don't.
It's time to get one, baby. The new Stadia controller and Chromecast with Google TV bundle is now available, set to be discounted soon. A new bundle has been added to the Google Store, which features a white Stadia controller. I have two, so I just, Wasabi Black. I know, Jacob. We'll get there. One second.
No.
Oh, is that
it actually doesn't? Right. I thought it didn't, but then I actually clicked through the bundle. You can actually add each item individually, the color of the Chromecast and the color of your controller, and then it gives you a bundle discount price at the end. So it's not like one package; it's literally the two different items that sent you at a discounted price for bundling.
And it also looks like we're about to be able to save 25% on this bundle, which is cool. I like this. And that's a good point, Jake. I'm glad you clicked through and found that, because it uses the word bundle. Typically, they will actually say the word package if it's going to be all together and you don't get a pick. So the fact that it's this kind of pick and choose is really cool. Originally, it was set to be at £118, fake money. But now it's going to be down to about 104. The deal doesn't appear to be fully live yet as of now. It takes you to purchase only on the Chromecast device and not the controller, so you may want to hold off for the time being. The article goes on to say that they're expecting this to be live today. This comes in also news with some people are also getting various Chromecast with Google TV users. They're being offered a 50% discount on Stadia controller purchases, which would knock it down to 35 USD specifically. The offer appears to expire on July 30th. Again, this one is an offer only. It's only if you actually receive the email. So saving money on the new Chromecast Ultra with the remote and a controller. Matt, I'm going to start with you as somebody who owns no Stadia paraphernalia. That's not the right word. Accessories.
Peripherals is the word you're looking for.
That's a better one.
Talk to me about this. Does this do anything to make you want to break out the card and start getting your own Stadia stuff?
So I'm gonna pull a bit of a U-turn here, Aaron, and I want to ask you, why should I get a Stadia controller? Because I'm looking at it now, and the black one looks sick, the Wasabi one looks, it looks all right, but why should I buy into this deal if I'm going to stay in the Stadia ecosystem? What's my reasoning? I can use my PlayStation controller, I can use the Xbox, I can use everything else. Why the Stadia controller?
Yeah, that's fair. I think packaging it with the deal with the Chromecast Ultra, so you're able to play it on your TV if you don't already have one, is a great deal. Not to mention it's the brand new Chromecast, so I think that's going to be really huge. And then the controller. So why not have all of your smart devices right there? If you don't want to turn on your PlayStation, you don't want to turn on your Xbox, or if you have another TV in the house that you just want that kind of smart TV capability, this is a great way. Oh, we are getting a live demo, ladies and gentlemen.
I added the Sky Google TV Sky color. Oh, what is it doing? What is it doing? Oh no!
While he's credit card information,
as it's like random. I didn't even click. Okay, then I had a Wasabi controller in there as well. It ended up being about 101 change.
It was 101. Yep.
101 in like
Jake,
70.
What are your thoughts on Matt's question? Why would somebody want a Stadia controller knowing that all other controllers typically work with Stadia?
Actually, I was gonna say the one thing about this Chromecast as well. I'm pretty sure it actually is Bluetooth enabled, so you can actually Bluetooth a controller to this device and use it on there. I saw some people demoing it on.
Use your Xbox, your PlayStation controller on top of it.
But I think just in terms of my user experience between this and other streaming platforms, I haven't tried the Luna controller yet. I haven't bought that yet, but definitely I definitely feel the best experience is on the controller. I mean, that's what the point of it is. Of course, it's definitely playable on other things, and you still have I've had no problems with latency realistically with other controllers, but I do notice a slight difference with this controller. Also, I think it's just a very comfortable controller, honestly. It's become my favorite controller, and I'm not just saying that just because I like Stadia. Like, it feels comfortable in my hands. I always like the even sticks, and the in general feels comfortable. I do have some accidental trigger presses, but very minimal. It just feels comfortable in my hands, so that's why I would probably buy one. If you're enjoying using Stadia enough and enjoying it enough, there's no reason not to.
Yeah,
unless you just don't want to spend the money, and then that's fine too. I understand.
Yeah, I've been curious about the Chromecast. I've never owned one, and I mean, like, if there's this bundle here, and if I can get all of my my McDonald's Monopoly money and my Canadian Tire money together, and maybe I'll throw it at this, because it does look cool. I do like the look of the black controller, and the Chromecast is something I've always been interested in. I've just never.
So, do you have any other sort of streaming device stick thing, or
no.
Do you have Okay, so do you have a smart TV then?
Not yet.
So you just use a PlayStation as your multimedia device. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Or just plug the laptop in through HDMI and just kind of run from there. But yeah. I know.
You can there's a Chrome, I'm pretty sure you can still Chrome tab your TV up, but yeah, through the Chromecast. So yeah, I mean, especially this new Chromecast is getting reviewed as the best one to get outside of the Apple TV, but Apple TV is also $200.
Yeah.
So if you want a cheap stick that does everything the Apple TV does, this is probably one of the best ones to get. And I want to also add that our friend Nick, who was our guest a few weeks ago, said, Quit the Build says it runs smooth on his new Chromecast with Google TV, which is the worst abbreviation possible.
CCWTVGDVTG.
I've seen people just call it CCTV, just Chromecast TV, because the with Google is just god awful.
Moving on from there.
Wasabi or bust, everyone.
Wasabi or bust, absolutely. Yeah.
I won't lie. When I saw the 3 in a line, and I've been doing this for 18 months or whatever, we've been live now. For the first time ever, I was looking at all 3 controllers and I was like, damn, black looks real good.
I want the black one now. Now that I have I have now 2 Wasabis. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
I definitely want a black one because I have 3 white ones now because of all the free ones I've gotten. So
yeah.
I've gifted those out to people, so I don't have those, but
yeah.
The next story, we just have some quality of life and launches coming out with game filtering, couch co-op, and the new app rolling out on Android. So let's roll through those. Yeah. Jake, why don't you take these stories? Which one do you want to start with? You are smarter.
Let's do the progressive web app one.
Okay.
Yeah, I can kind of just talk about the other ones off of that. That's fine. I kind of know them off the cuff. So the progressive web app, apparently the really cool thing about this is if you've ever used a direct to YouTube streaming before, which I have actually done it. Actually, Aaron and I did it live, I think, the one day with Dead by Daylight. This actually allows you to do direct to YouTube streaming from your phone, because
wow.
it used to be that to play Stadia, like if you want to use your web browser before the app came out, you had to like put it in a desktop mode. It was like cumbersome to get that should work. But now, like, if you just open it up, just like it's the same way that Apple they got around to the Apple tax stuff on Apple devices. It's the same kind of device, but it works this way. I know on the Progressive Web app, you can also do like claim all games, like for Pro. For some reason, it has an option to do that there, not elsewhere. So that's the cool, like, unique things about the Progressive Web app. Otherwise, you literally open it up in your web browser and it kind of becomes a web app. So it'll mimic similar to what the app interface is. I think they have a video here of how that all works, and which we want to play that while we're talking. The other things they added were
do you want to go game filtering, or do you want to go couch co-op?
I'll just say game filtering.
Okay.
Game filtering, I actually turned it on and tried it because I didn't know this until I read like this article. It works really, really well. I thought from my little experience. It's kind of fun that we're getting all these like search features now for Stadia, which has been kind of a little bit of a joke as Google is search anymore. In the dictionary will tell you the same thing too. So no, it adds an ability to filter games in your search and in your like field. So when you're searching, so it actually does help a bit. Very, very odd that it's just an experimental feature, not a regular feature. Seems to work pretty well, but I thought that was pretty cool. And then the last one is like very bare bones, so more of a quality, again, like you said, quality of life feature, where like if you log on to your friend, like if you hook up a second controller to a PlayStation, it prompts you to log in right away. Yep. It's essentially what we're getting on Stadia finally, is the ability to log in to your own Stadia account and play and unlock, get all your trophies and whatnot. And that's essentially what this is. It was leaked to be coming out, and then I think it's actually live on Hello Engineer, I think is one of the games that's very supporting it.
That makes sense.
So that's what I understand from that as well. I'm not sure if it's live elsewhere, but I know people saw it on there as well. So just, good bunch of quality of life features. They keep building up the base to get to where they probably should have been a year ago.
And I think, that's
progress. They're moving forward.
Yeah.
Talked about a little bit, right? Like we've talked about this ad nauseum on this show specifically, but yes, I agree. We should have been here a year ago. We should have already gotten these, but at least rolling out more and more features shows that dedication to the service and that they're willing to stick that out. I'll go slightly out of order here. That actually leads me to this story. Google devs are dedicated to Stadia. This comes from 9 to 5 Google. This is from the Google for Games Developer Summit. Google's 2021 Games Dev Summit teases Android 12 features, Stadia announcements for partners. On Tuesday, there will be a Stadia keynote to kick stuff off the next level platform tracks. Come hear the latest and greatest from one of Stadia's business development leads. You'll learn about new offerings for all Stadia partners and how the Stadia team is working to make it easier to bring games to the platform. That's awesome. While delivering new ways to maximize the return on launching Stadia titles. Less time porting, certing, and more time creating. Learn from Stadia product managers about how we're making it more efficient to bring games to Stadia with significant investments in cloud-native tooling and automated certification processes, as well as third-party engine improvements, bringing new values to the Stadia partners. Brand new incentives are coming to Stadia, and they empower developers to drive their success in awesome ways. Come learn how to make the most of the publishing your game on Stadia and take advantage of everything the platform has to offer. I don't know if we need to really spend a lot of time on this other than to say the messaging lately over these last few episodes has been, we are here to support Stadia. We're not going anywhere. Yes, it's probably slower than we all anticipated, but we're dedicated. We're going to keep going. And not only is it cool for them to take time to say, here's all the things that we want to talk about with Stadia, but they're also going to say, look, we're already doing quality of life improvements. You have couch co-op where you guys can be in your own profiles. We have these different things coming down the pipeline and things that we're already launching. To me, the thing that excites me is just dedication to the service. Let's start with Fee. Any thoughts on that? Just the overall, the devs and the quality of life stuff?
Yeah, no, it gets me excited, especially with kind of the negative points that we had to deal with earlier on this year. Being able to see kind of these positive comments and seeing them like strive to like put more into Stadia makes me just like overall like happy to be a Stadia user, because I know and we've talked about this off and on for the past few weeks. There are a lot of people who think negatively about Stadia, and just seeing that Google's not just like, hey, like we did X, Y, and Z, now we're never going to talk about Stadia ever again. They're actually like making sure that they're constantly finding ways to promote and kind of involve overall, and using bringing WPA for Stadia, like that is huge. So having those accesses, and it's just making me really happy to see that they're putting more effort into it, because I'm gonna be honest, it was a rough winter, guys, but we made it through winter. Winter came, winter left, and now we're seeing some positivity, and I'm really pumped for it.
Matt, as a new adopter, I want to ask you, like, does this do anything for you? Does this help kind of change that earlier shift that you had of Stadia? That, I mean, I think you were pretty honest with me when I came on the show that you could feel the faltered launch and you weren't totally bought in on this service. Yeah. What does this kind of news speak to you as a newer adopter?
It's nice to hear it, honestly, because like I feel like if they weren't committed to it, they wouldn't even be bothering to talk about it, or at least not to this extent.
Right.
A question, actually, if you guys don't mind, do we know anything about whether it is difficult or how difficult it is porting games to Stadia? That's not something I really know much about, but like that they were talking about, you know, making it easier and making that kind of pipeline more accessible. Is it difficult to bring things to Stadia if you already have the game on PC or console?
If you ask crap, but I'm going to default to Jake on this.
I mean, if you ask EA, it takes about 6 months, but no. Yes and no. I know with Unity, they have the Stadia Makers program that they posted a bunch of recently, like 10 games that they're bringing on through the Stadia Makers program and supporting. Mm-hmm. All those games are built in Unity. I know Unity has a good tool of converting things from Windows to Vulkan. Okay. The big thing is it's Vulkan. It's Linux based, and unfortunately, Windows is not Linux.
Right.
So it's bringing that over, and then some of the engines have good tools, and that's what they kind of talked about here about bringing third-party tools to bring games over to Stadia. So that's I thought was really big to like, okay, they're working on helping the porting process and smoothing over with some of the bigger, I'm hoping like Unreal and whatnot, they can get on board to like really have a good port process for it. There's a lot of games that run on Unreal and Unity. So that's, I mean, yeah, it does have some issues. I definitely think that was a choice that they made to go with Vulkan as opposed to Windows, because you see games popping up on all the other ones. Like I think GeForce Now every week has like 12 new games at least added to their platform, where Stadia we're like cheering about 3 or 4 if we can get that. So yeah, it definitely is harder, and maybe just it's because people just aren't looking at it as much because of the player base isn't there. So there's slower, but definitely a little bit harder for Vulkan, but I think they're finally getting to a point where it's smoother.
Well, that's what I mean. So like as a new adopter, if they're working on getting more games on the platform, because I think that's the thing that I most commonly hear, there's nothing there worth playing kind of thing. Like I can play all of these things somewhere else. But if they're making that transition easier, if they're making it easier to get your games on their platform, so, you know, you can buy in on the ecosystem, I mean, I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
If there's a game, I don't know how much of like a trophy hunter you are or anything like that, but at this point, if there's like a solid game that's coming to PlayStation or Stadia based off your experience with Stadia, has Stadia showed you anything yet that you'd be like, actually, I would buy it here because I want to play it anywhere versus PlayStation? Or do you think you'd still primarily go to PlayStation?
I think part of that depends. Like, I think most of the time I would go to PlayStation, but I think it's dependent on what type of game it is.
Okay.
Like, if it's something that I can easily access from my phone or from like a laptop, if I go anywhere, like something like an RPG or something.
Let's say Cyberpunk.
Yeah, like I mean, Cyberpunk's not a bad example, right? So like if it's something that or exactly like that, right? If it's something I know that has a lot of issues elsewhere but runs well here, then I have no aversion to picking it up here. But if it's something that I know that I can play easily no matter where I go, then that's something that would definitely edge towards Stadia.
Do you think this will become more of like a Switch type platform to you, where you'll pick up the games knowing like graphical fidelity maybe doesn't matter as much to you? You're okay with like something just a little bit, I guess, of a smaller title, but you can just play it anywhere and just be able to like knock out these kind of indies. Do you feel like that's something that speaks more to you?
I think right now, as it stands, it's looking more like that, but I think the potential for more AAA stuff is definitely there, especially the idea where, you know, if I can hop on my laptop and be able to play Doom Eternal, for example, right? Like if the TV's busy or for whatever else, right? Like if I'm not much of a trophy chaser, so that doesn't really bother me. I think it's just the ecosystem that I'm used to. Sure. But I think the more time I spend with it, I would be more open to kind of seeing what else I can pick up here rather than somewhere else.
My last question in regards to this, as kind of a newer adopter, is there anything Stadia's been doing that you feel like they're not invested enough, where you're like, I don't know if I'm willing to invest my money into games here, knowing that I don't know if this service will last?
I think the biggest issue with Stadia, I think technically there isn't really much wrong with it. I think it all comes down to the PR and the messaging, right? Like, I mean, Google has a bad rep, regardless of how true or not it is, that they dump a lot of their projects that they start and they kind of leave, along the way. And like, regardless of whether that's true or not, that's kind of commonplace what a lot of people say. And a lot of people, also the same issue of there isn't enough games there. Why am I playing there versus anywhere else? And I think that's the biggest thing that they kind of need to work on, which, I mean, we'll get into E3 shortly, but that's kind of why, like, I really think they need their own kind of big event style press conference thing and say, look at all of these things that we're doing. Let's blow everything out of the water and show them that we're committed, because I feel like these kind of piecemeal things that we get from like the story that we just read is great for anybody in the ecosystem. But I think for anybody looking to come in, you need to kind of go bigger and louder to say, look, it's a viable platform. Because I don't think there's anything wrong with it technically. I just think the messaging is where it's faltering.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you think that like a little startup like Google could afford something like that?
I think they might need to run a Kickstarter, but I think they could do it.
They could pull it off.
I have one last question for you.
I love it
because you come from an Xbox, a PlayStation household. I'm assuming, based on the headphones, especially. So are you a Game Pass subscriber though? So like at all?
I was for a little bit. So I picked up an Xbox for like the last year that I was in Korea, and then sold it before coming back here, only because of the power discrepancies. It was just, I didn't want to be running it through a converter every time I needed to use it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I just actually ordered a new computer that is going to be much more capable than this crappy laptop that I'm using now to be able to play games. And that's probably one of the first things I will be purchasing is a Game Pass subscription again, because, just again, having that ease of access.
If Stadia for you as again a new person, is the business model if Stadia chose to go with the $60 traditional platform, has that been more of a deterrent for you as opposed to the Game Pass model? Like, do you think you play a lot on Game Pass just to jump around, or I guess like would the combination of both? like I'm not sure how.
I think I know what you're getting at. I think there is room for both of these things to be. I think there's I think there's room for both of these things to kind of coexist. Like I feel like Stadia is like I don't have Game Pass now because I know I can't run it, right? Like I just know that the majority of things will not work. But as they kind of invest more in xCloud, I do think Stadia is kind of primed more to be the thing for a lot more people who don't have a powerful computer or who don't, have something that they're able to run. I think there's space for both of these to be there. And I think that largely depends on where I want to play. Like I said, if I can hop on my phone and try it and play something while I'm, waiting in line somewhere or doing whatever else, I think there's room for both of them. I think it ultimately depends on the incentive of playing there, right? Like if Stadia can say, okay, well, here is either a different kind of sale, or here's a reason why you want to play here versus Xbox, and that kind of gets more into the weeds of console exclusivity and like you'll get this thing here, but you get this thing here. I think they need to start getting competitive to start showing like, yes, you can play Destiny here, but these are the benefits of playing it on Stadia versus elsewhere, because I think as Microsoft pushes more and more into that streaming space, they're going to need to say, this is why you want to be here.
Yeah, they're capturing a ton of that mind share right now. Honestly,
but I mean, they're losing. They're losing tons of money. They're making lots of money, but they're also not netting lots of money. Like, that's the thing. So they're with Game Pass. So like a lot of people talk about that, which I think is.
I mean, are they though? Like I think about the Netflix model, and we have a comment from a while ago that Charles and you wanted to bring it back up with movies, TV, and sports games. Could you imagine the marketing potential with streaming devices? I constantly go back to Netflix and the idea that they were able to murder Blockbuster through just delivering DVDs in shitty paper sleeves. And that was already changing the model. And then they said, okay, what about streaming? But they didn't just immediately come out and say streaming. They took a model and they said, okay, look, we're going to make it a little bit easier to get your rentals and watch your movies and TV
Mhm.
shows. And then they said, okay, look, now we're going to make it just a little bit easier. And now we're going to expand into this. They didn't just aggressively push this marketing of this brand new all-inclusive thing. They rolled it out in phases, and I see Game Pass doing the same thing.
But Netflix didn't start making money until very, very recently. I think if at all. They
Sure, but Microsoft
just
has
turned
the
the black.
money to bankroll that and then still make a lot of money.
Oh, I know.
But now we look at Netflix, like, so that's what I was going with it.
My point is to justify the price for Game Pass. It's going to have to increase the price because they've been giving away for like $1 off top of the gold subscription.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
they're not making money. That's my point. Like they will eventually probably make money, but not for another year or two at least. Like,
Which is fine to them. But let's skip ahead with Netflix and where I was going with that analogy. They were okay losing that upfront cost to eventually now they're bankrolling their own films starring Ryan Reynolds and The Rock.
Yeah.
Like they have figured out the progressive model of I'm okay with the short-term losses for the long-term gain, and I think it's going to continue to pay off for them.
I think part of that also is like now that you're in the ecosystem, they can start raising prices, which we've seen Netflix do, right? It's more difficult for you to buy out than it is to be like, all right, screw it, another $1.
Well, see, Xbox tried it with gold, and then they got reamed out for it.
Totally different, though. Once these people are completely inundated in Game Pass and they have all these games downloaded and they're ready to go, the second they tell me they just raised my Game Pass price from $15 to $16, I'm going to accept the dollar.
It's not going to be $15 to $16.
That's how Netflix did it, and I
don't think they're going to do it that way.
Okay,
we'll see.
Pizza bet.
Sure.
Pizza bet says we don't get more than a 10% increase the first time they bump that price.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they got reamed
Right
alive
here.
when they decided to like think about it. I remember, like, was it back this year that they were talking about raising?
Gold.
Gold. Yeah,
they did gold.
Yeah.
They doubled the price of gold from 10 to 20 to like prep people like for the idea of like, hey, Ultimate's going to be $20 at some point, like pretty much
At some point,
or
but I
phase
think
out.
they do it in increments.
But
all right,
okay,
that was fun.
Sorry, that
First
went on for a
pizza
while.
bet
That
on
was
the
good
show.
talk.
Pizza bet.
All right. Well, let's talk about missteps with Stadia and the fact that where the hell was Stadia at E3? This comes from
unless you only watched the Ubisoft press conference.
only Ubisoft. This comes from the 9 to 5 Google. I just want to, before I even go into the details of this, I just want to scroll really quick. E3 2021. We're all about Stadia. This is how long their entire article is. We got Black Panther and Ubisoft, and then it goes into an ad.
Yep.
The new Ubisoft games that they announced, Instinction, or Ubisoft, we talked about Avatar, Rainbow Six Extraction, which we finally got a list or a name for. The Instinction news did break during this. The end. And then we found out Black Panther is coming to Avengers, which is a game that's already on Stadia. Of course, they're going to get their updates day and date.
Yeah.
It would be ridiculous not to. We didn't get any isolated like Stadia hype moments or news outside of here's some really cool Ubisoft games. Of course, they're coming to Stadia. Jake, I actually want to start with you. What do you make of just the lack of E3 presence? Me and you did a show about this a year ago, and we were equally disappointed.
Yes. Yeah, we did a lot. Did we record that one live, or was that the
last year they did their whole
thing. We did live. We
did
the Connect. We recorded live, but didn't really like stream live. Okay. The funny thing is, like, even games we know are coming to Stadia didn't have the Stadia logo on them. Like, granted, they're at the PC thing. I think it was Grime was one of them. They showed it on coming to Steam, and that was it. No Stadia logo. So it's like a game that was a Stadia Makers program game wasn't even shown as coming to Stadia on the big stage. So very, very disappointing. We were even like ready, like, oh, we'll do like a E3 bonus episode that Tuesday night after all the shows were done, and we messaged her like, we're not gonna do that now, right? Like, I don't need to bring all my stuff out to. Actually, it wouldn't have worked anyway because I didn't leave my field visit early. I ended up getting back at like 9:00 that night. That we would record, but it's like there's no point in recording.
What are we going to talk about?
We're talking about how
Avatar?
Ubisoft's conference. Yeah, Avatar. I mean, looks cool, I guess.
People are like, old games are old. I'm like, well, so is a 2009 movie that we're now making a game of.
Yeah.
Matt, did you watch a lot of E3 coverage?
Yeah, we did a lot of E3. So that's actually something that I was curious on your perspective as kind of, everyone. Why, like you were just mentioning about Grime, right? It's a Stadia game coming to other platforms, but it's kind of made in house. But like, why isn't Google more in that space, right? Like, why not buy out the indie ad time for, just like we see Xbox doing, we see PlayStation doing? There are multi-platform games that are only on their stage because they're paying them to be there, right? Why isn't Google doing that? Like, even if they don't have a ton of, exclusive games or whatever it is, why aren't they going to the games that they are coming to the platform and say, we will pay you to be on our stage versus theirs? Like,
PlayStation wasn't even at E3, and they even had a presence at the Summer Games Fest with Shuhei Yoshida coming on stage. Like, even like a little thing like that, I pay a little bit of money to have your on that stage, especially. Like, hey, we have these games like Wave Break coming to Steam and Switch, not showing Stadia at all.
Like, okay, hold on. I just need to just 1 second, real quick here. I need to get mad, guys.
About Weezer.
Hold on. Let me just for a second. I can't believe the amount of people that were like, Wave Break. Oh my God, this is the next greatest thing I've ever seen. I can't wait to be these cute animals on jet skis playing Tony Hawk style games. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. The game you could have played on Stadia for a year, everyone. For a year.
But actually, was it free at one point? I can't remember if it was free at one point, but
I don't even care. The amount of people that lost their mind over Wave Break, a game that has been exclusive to Stadia this entire time, just nail in coffin kills me. Fiona, I see it bubbling. I see it just rising up in you. Here is your soapbox. Let it go. What did you think?
I'll get the second soapbox ready for you to jump on.
Thank you. Okay. The audacity that was the PC game show literally made me want to die. And the reason why is because they're like, oh, Orcs Must 3 is coming out. And I'm like, it's on Stadia. And then I felt like Bob from Bob's Burgers when Eugene is like, he just won. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Bob's Burgers, but there's this one part where it's the baseball episode, and they're like, kid, tell us where your dad, like, who are you promoting today? And he's like, my dad's burger place. And he's like, what's your dad's burger place's name? And he puts the microphone in front of Eugene, and Eugene's like, I don't remember. And Bob's in the background yelling, like, Bob's Burger. This is me at the PlayStation, like the PC conference. It was like, it's on Stadia. It's on Stadia. And then like I'm just yelling this the entire I'm getting more and more angry as this conference goes on because I'm seeing more and more games that have been on. Guys, if you wanted to play these games, they've been out. They're on Stadia. But you guys have this like mentality that you can't play Stadia because it's not cool. Like the Vita wasn't cool. The Vita, like for a lot of people, wasn't cool, but people want. Jacob, don't even start.
I'll get mine right now. I'll get mine right now too.
Yeah,
We're all fighting now over the Vita. You started something, Fee.
Vita user. So.
I have a Vita. It just irritates me to no end that like these people who like are like, oh well, you've been able, like these games have been out forever. Why are you excited that they're on Stadia? And I'm like, you guys are literally doing the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Thank you.
But like, I had no idea that they were out. I saw Wave Break for the first time. I was like, this looks cool. Yeah. No idea that it existed for this long before, right? Yeah. Like, where is that messaging? That's what I mean. Like, where
it was at the Stadia Connect a year ago. The last time you saw Phil Harrison. Speaking of Phil Harrison, there's someone posted. Phil Harrison needs to get show us he's alive. Man, he has done nothing since the last Stadia closing statement. The last time he's tweeted was last April. So that's like
we're concerned.
Can you imagine, Matt, just for a second, just put that into context? If Phil Spencer's last tweet was last April about Xbox, what people would be saying?
All right. Yeah, the internet would be on fire, or there'd be conspiracy theories about him starting a new indie studio and working with Kojima.
That basically happened anyways, but yeah. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. Thank you so much for everybody just fueling my umbrage. But Matt, as the new adopter, like you said, you didn't know about Wave Break until now? You had no idea?
No, like, and again, like I've been playing around with it. I've been going through the store, but it never kind of connected that like, oh, that new cool looking game. This is the same thing. It's just like, that's what I want to hear about, right? Like
Yeah.
I want to hear about this is the place to play these games. And it's just like, where?
So tell me, where do they get that message to you as somebody who you're kind of in the middle ground of like, you are an avid gamer, so you are that kind of E3 crowd. We don't need to talk about necessarily getting this message out into the masses, though I have thoughts of how they do that too. How do they get this message to you?
I think the best way to do that is by going through going through the bigger outlets, something like an IGN, and just talking to influencers, because that's kind of the name of the game with most indie games now, especially, right? If you get your hands into the right influencer, then your tracking game, the game is that much more likely to blow up, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, the last event they did, they focused on influencers, actual event they did.
Yeah, which I mean, like, all you need is one good conference in my mind, right? All you need is one good one. Like, Microsoft crushed it this year, and now the narrative is Game Pass is great. Microsoft had a great conference. Forget all the years and all the past conferences and all the missteps. You need one good thing.
You need 2 years.
Yeah. You need one good thing to kind of reset the narrative, right? Like, you just need to shut people up and say, this is why. And like, put out a conference, hype it up. You need the marketing on all fronts, be on the IGNs, be on all of the platforms you can be, so that people like me that say, oh, okay, I'm curious about Stadia. These are the reasons I might check it out. This is my way to do that. Cause like, I didn't even know that Stadia was at E3 last year. And like I said, like, I'm pretty, like, I pay attention to a lot. It needs to be at the forefront of everything.
They weren't at E3,
okay.
PlayStation wasn't at E3.
Yeah. Okay.
But they had like an event, like I think the week prior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although this is a point that I hadn't really thought about. I've actually never given Stadia this one excuse that we give everything else. Stadia launched November of 2019.
Yeah.
What happened in February 2020? We have not truly had a chance to have public messaging and public events. We've only had these goofy little YouTube connects that everybody else had to scramble, but they didn't have the backlog of histories of E3s to really step on.
Yeah.
So I do wonder, for whatever reason, why I never thought that COVID could be taking a play. Did that mess with any of this messaging or any of these big promotions that they wanted to do, or was it just Google being Google?
I think it was. I think by that point it was already, the narrative was so bad early on that it was. They got a big bump when COVID actually happened, I thought, because of the 3 months of free pro that they were promoting at the time.
So they tripped and stumbled out of the gate, face planted into a pandemic, and have never really been able to get up since. And hopefully we should start doing that.
It's just weird because I mean it's Google, right? You think if anybody would be able to kind of pivot in the midst of a pandemic where everything is online, you'd think they'd be the ones to be like, here is why it's good, right? Like, I think it just sucks because there's so much potential here, and the service itself is awesome, but like, just one good conference, come out and let everybody know this is why. I don't know. I might be off base here, but
this is a solid comment just to go along with what we're already talking about. It's interesting too. Like, we're talking about wave break, everybody's hyping up that Xbox might be coming to smart TVs. Google launches that, and we've already everybody's like,
2 days prior, they announced that they were going to be coming to all Android TVs, and it's also an Android TV too, not just the Google TV. If you have Android TV, you also now have Stadia. Congrats. So they announced it, and literally 2 days later, Xbox says, "Oh yeah, we're making a streaming stick, another, which is going to be like a budget Android stick probably." Yeah, and then it's like, I was like, "Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad they're behind it." It's like, well, you can praise one but not the other. It's a little hypocritical. I mean, it's hard to be a man that yells at cloud about it, but yeah, I get why people are angry about it. But it's the media at this point. Yep.
Yeah. So Matt, if you're Google, last thoughts. What do you do either between now and next E3 or next E3?
I think at this point they need to go pop off on like a random Tuesday in August. Just a random day at a random time, not surrounded by the Game Awards, not surrounded by anything else. Set yourself up, and then with those big events come around, the narrative is already starting to shift, and you can just kind of continue to display. I think they just need to go off and say, here's an hour of us talking to some of the developers that we're working with. Here are the games that are coming. This is how you can access them, and just kind of reset, because I think that's what they desperately need. And I think they need to do it at a time when there's nothing else happening. So everything can be focused on them. So when the next E3 does come around, when the next Game Awards does come around, then the narrative is already starting to shift. So they're kind of ready, you know, in the next little while to kick ass, because I think they can do it. And I think the service, like I said, there's nothing wrong with the service.
Yeah.
It needs a push.
Jake, before I go to you, Matt, let me push back just a little bit on that. How would they get that in front of you? They've actually done a lot of these, and they even had Austin Creed actually host one, which I thought was really cool.
Okay.
And they did like live streaming. Jacob was actually on it. No big deal.
Oh yeah. No.
But anyways, they have tried to do that. So to me, I'm like, actually, you need to get Jeff Keighley totally on board with you and push at the Game Awards, push at your Summer Game Fest. You need to have like a strong presence with the big dogs to say, I'm here. So if they do one of these smaller conferences, what can they do to like pull you in, since they have had them? It just hasn't really hit your radar.
I think you're spot on with the Jeff Keighley, with the Greg Miller. I think you need an influencer that's kind of more engraved. I love Austin Creed. Yeah. But like, you know, and it's nothing against him, but like, I feel like a Greg Miller would pull people quite quickly. Right, like somebody that people listen to a lot, and then they kind of, you know, he's known. He doesn't talk shit. Well, I mean, he talks a lot of shit. But
no. I was just saying
about Stadia.
About Stadia.
Yeah, that's why I space. I'm like,
but like, if they can get somebody like that on board to host something like that, and then rock it with their next one, I don't know. I feel like you need the right person there that's going to pull people in, and I feel like, I don't know. I think it needs to be front page and center everywhere, so that people know that it's happening and get in. Because, like I said, I never even knew that these things were happening.
Fair. Jake, what about you? What do you see between either now and the next E3, and specifically, now in between, and what would you want to see next year?
Well, first I want to bring up the fact this one comment was added that Jeff hates Stadia, but Jeff also really, really loves money. Have you not met the Chick Hydra man? He loves money. So if Google's going to roll with some money, he will gladly take it and then put Stadia on the TV for a little bit. What do they need to do? I agree with what you're going to say. Like, they need to be somewhere at Game Awards. I think they need to ramp up to that point, have all the features we need and want there at that point, and then push with some sort of exclusive title, like, again, third party, but a big like AAA style title, say a UB style game or whatnot, have a timed exclusive for that. That's, I think, that would be the tipping point if they can get there. I think all signs are leading that they're going that direction, but I mean, are they going to get there in time for this end of this year? Probably not. That's what the thing that sticks. I think they could, even if they had a presence. I know doesn't Jeff Keighley also do the Tokyo? Is it Tokyo Game Show, or is that
Gamescom?
Gamescom. Sorry, yeah. He does the opening night tonight. Like, if they can have something at that, because I remember actually watching Jeff Keighley actually interviewed Phil Harrison, I think at E3 or at that event. It was one of the two, and like, I'm like, oh, I actually believe in Phil Harrison, and then slowly he disappoints me day after day since then. But like, they had a good, like, so he did actually have him on the show. Like, they have had Stadia presence with him. So I know you said Jeff isn't like Stadia, but like, I like the difference. He actually had Phil Harrison on stage and talked to him and interviewed him. So yeah, I think they need to get in front of big events to some degree. That's like the only way at this point, because again, they tried the influencer round. They got some big, decent sized influencers on board. I watched the stream where someone was streaming to like tens of thousands of people on Stadia stuff. And it was like for crowd play, they started having crowd play with Super Bomberman R and Outcasters with the two big titles at that point. So
yeah,
I mean, they tried at that point. I mean, hopefully they can make another push with that around that too. So that's the way getting influencers involved again, and getting this even like a sound bite at those big events with something that's meaningful, not like, hey, like, I mean, Orcs Must Die 3 is fine, which is actually that's leading exclusivity now too, but like, they need something that has a little more punch to it that will turn heads a little bit more.
Like it. Fee, final thoughts from you, ma'am?
I think one thing I noted, and I said this consistently throughout E3, one of the things that were a really big driver, even though it wasn't considered E3 based, was the Summer Games Fest, and seeing the amount of indies and getting more indies on the platform and getting more people like involved and making it more accessible for indie developers to bring your games over. obviously they haven't really given us numbers as to how long or what they specifically need to use, but when I was playing the demos, a lot of them are playing on Unity and trying to move like things that way and utilizing your actual systems and maybe thinking about that when you're actually developing the game could really like, I think it has a great opportunity to bring more indies in. And I think that's, at least for me, a lot of people I talk to were more excited about a lot of the indies than the AAA games that were announced. I have thoughts about Ubisoft, and I'm not going to go on about it because I've already gone on 2 rants about this on 2 other podcasts.
I'm assuming you're going to be picketing this weekend at the Halifax location.
We're not talking about my entire province is currently being blockaded, so I can't actually leave my province. But that's a whole other thing as well. Yeah, so either way, no, I think it's just very irritating. And I think this could kind of give them an opportunity to put some highlights on not even just influencers, but like even smaller dev creators. So maybe hoping doing that. But I do also agree that they need to bring essentially a whale of a title to be an exclusive, even just a time exclusive, to get people interested and get them to move over and say like, hey, you know what, like last year, like we know you still can't get consoles, like we recognize that, and this is the new, like this specific game that we're bringing over. Yeah, so I think big games, small devs still using influencers, because I think maybe different like I think the influencers were definitely great, but things, I agree. Someone like Greg Miller, mind you, Greg Miller, his thoughts on Stadia are...
he was DOA on it. He thought he was like,
this doesn't work. He's a child. He's like, this doesn't work. I'm not going to try to play this anymore. Like,
I mean...
He's like, he has friends that work at Stadia, and he's like, no, I'm not going to try their thing.
I mean, he literally watched one of his favorite platforms die, so I guess I understand.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. I'm just as
I'm gonna go get it right now.
No, I'm just saying that like I get it, and I understand that Google has a reputation of using their small indie dev money to create different things and different programs, and then after 2 years they disappear into the ether, and there's a website that you can check out all of these particular attempts. But I don't think that's...
They merge, they consolidate.
Yeah, they consolidate. So we don't talk about those. But I think this is definitely different, and they've proven this on multiple occasions, even though there was definitely a little bit of a step. I agree that the pandemic definitely has a play in this. Like, we can't sit here and say like, oh, it didn't. Like, Stadia wasn't affected at all. Everyone was affected, guys.
So she was Stadia's big. I mean, they weren't touting at first, but like, it's the ability to play like at the hospital or at the DMV while you're waiting, like on your phone, like. And who was doing that in 2020? Like, I got my my new license in the mail. Like like I'm at the DMV. So like, yeah, stuff like that. Like the utility of Stadia is kind of lost because of it.
Agreed. So yeah, I'm hoping to see brighter things, especially with things starting to slowly open up. And they definitely need to start promoting more. And I agree, a conference as well. Google, you have a year to do a lot of things. And I'm hopeful, but I'm going to keep you accountable.
Love it.
Oh no, Charles added one last thing, like that during the Larry and panels, he kept saying Baldur's Gate 3, which is game delayed, unfortunately, by the way. Sad face was coming to PC, but left us Stadia there. The team had to remind him often. So yeah, I mean, that happens definitely, but.
Well, that does it for the 26th episode of Speaking of Stadia. Let's go ahead and run through our hosts one more time, where they can find you. Let's start with Fiona. Fiona, where can the lovely people come hang out with you on the internet?
People can hang out with me over on my Twitch, because I started Twitch streaming again. You can check me out at twitch.tv/Zoranix. Honestly, at this point, I might change my name. But
why?
that's a whole other thing.
Off camera, wrong time, Jake.
No, so I am just playing. I was playing demos, but I'm gonna probably start playing some other games. You can also check me out over at youtube.com/pointinprogress and twitch.tv/pointinprogress, where we're going to continue our essentially my playthrough of The Wolf Among Us, because this is my first time playing it. And you can check out our newest video where Frank talks about the Pulse 3 PlayStation headset, and it is pretty damn funny. And I watched it a few times because I was laughing really hard. So yeah, definitely check out those things.
That's what you're wearing right now, right? Is that the Pulse 3? Or is that the headset, Matt?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, yeah. I thought you were talking to her for the.
No, you. The headset you're wearing is the Pulse 3.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry, zoned out for Tyler for a second there. I was like, I'm waiting for the answer.
Fiona, if I can suggest a new username, I would go with the Nova in Scotia, but that's just me. Mr. Porter, where can the people find you?
I'm boring. Come check me out when I tweet very randomly about things like Wendy's social media being awesome and posting Dance Gavin Dance lyrics.
So good.
Awesome,
so good.
Yeah, Too Tall Porter. The zeros being O's. No, O's being zeros. So the word. Because someone stole that from me. Other than that, here I usually use our normal Twitter account as my personal one.
Speak of Stadia. If you really want to hear a lot of Porter's thoughts, unless it's just me being raunchy, it's Speak of Stadia.
That was surprising this week, by the way. I was like, oh, Aaron.
Coming in hot. Matt, where can the fine people find you, sir?
Yeah, if you guys want to hear more from me, you can find us over at youtube.com/burnoutbrighter or the Burnout Brighter podcast on any podcast network. Twitter, I'm at burnout_Matt. We just had a Chicory review go up today. That game is fantastic. And we also had Waking Oni, aka Derek Fields, which you might have seen at the Black Voices in Gaming event or on the Wholesome Direct on our show this week, talking to us about Onsen Masters. So if you're curious, hop on over and check it out. We had a great combo.
I cannot tell you guys again. I cannot emphasize this enough. It is such a good podcast. They're almost at 100 episodes, or are you over 100 at this point?
We're at 94. Almost there.
I knew you had to be coming close to that. These guys are vets. They are incredible. Please go check them out. I absolutely love it. And I will be back on their show because I just invited myself. And for me, you can find me on Twitter at Aaron Seaney, AARONSEANEY. Of course, I also have another show, Awesomely Average, that runs very randomly at this point. My next guest is Mega Ran, and you can check that out on youtube.com/awesomely-average. Our last guest was Patrick Dees, the owner of the FCF. So if you care about fan-controlled football at all, we had a great time chatting all things E3, fan-controlled football, what it takes to start your own league. It was awesome. So otherwise, that does it. Again, this was the 26th episode of Speaking of Stadia. You can check us out every other Tuesday, even though tonight was Wednesday, it's fine. Don't even talk about it. 8:30 Eastern right here. So for all things Stadia, keep it classy. If you can dream it, you can stream it. That probably won't stick as our tagline. We'll see you next time.